Hello everybody, Dodger here. Welcome back to Automation, the car company tycoon game. Today we are going to pick our 3 top contestants to the Vector Automotive Challenge of fan entry vehicles. These aren't necessarily the 3 vehicles that I thought were the best. They were the 3 that most fit the Vector Automotive Challenge, most fit the spirit of what the Vextron is about, and the ones that I thought would be pretty healthy competitors directly against it in its market. But before we get to that, and before we take a look at the updated Vextron, we have some more contestants to cover. Unfortunately, due to some emails going to spam, stuff like that, and some later entries, I missed a couple, so we have 3 to go over today, and I will do that here first rather quickly because I realize everybody's ready to see what the Vextron 2.0 looks like and what it does against the competition. Okay, so first we have, let's see, Poolshark has an RNA8. Let's see. Okay. Oh, this is a body we haven't seen before, actually, in the competition anyway. Kind of a cleanish front end. Overall, the body looks pretty clean. You know, this body shell has such a kind of a dramatic body line to it. You don't need a lot of fixtures to make it look interesting. The front I like. I do like it almost, with the way that the front's been elongated and whatnot, it almost looks kind of like the body we're used to. But obviously when you get to the side profile, it is not. And then the back is, it's interesting. I don't know if I'm completely on board with the way the back is designed. Personally, I think I would have pushed the window out more or pushed the wing back further. Something, I don't know, the back just kind of reads a little bit older, like maybe late 80s, early 90s, and the front looks pretty much on par with your late 90s, early 2000s. So a little bit of a split personality car here. But let's start it up. Let's see what kind of engine we have in here. Let's quickly go through the platform. Glued aluminum, front longitudinal, double wishbone, rear-wheel drive, fiberglass. Okay. Then we have an engine. Oh, a V8, a very small V8 in the front of that thing. That is surprising. That is, looks like very well built too. And when I say that, I mean it's built to the point where it is pretty realistic and modifiable. I was using direct acting cams, multi-point. Overall, it's a pretty nice engine here. Tubular, wow, quiet engine, and let's see, SEC single exhaust. 251, 246. That is pretty close to the Vector V8. So I would say this is a pretty good competitor for Vector's V8. Pretty similar build. And then if we go to the trim, looks like we got a 6-speed manual. We got sports compound road tires, and they are 17s, 225, 235. Brakes are pretty average, but okay. Fully clad, just a little bit of downforce. And wow, this part really does look like the Vextron. Super light, standard entertainment. It does have traction control and electronic stability, and then pretty good safety as well. Looks like some custom suspension settings, so this thing could be pretty sporty. And it does have a tameness of 56.1, a sportiness of 45.2. Let's actually go to here. Comfort of 23, prestige of 32, and safety of 28. Those are very high values. It's always nice to see the tameness and the sportiness both have high values. It also has a high value. It is pretty expensive at $87.29. Kind of maybe pricing it out of our category just a little bit. Especially with that 161 production units in there. It's rather pricey. I'm pretty impressed to see that comfort up that high, though, using this small body shell. Despite its cost differences, it is a really good car. He did a very good job of using a different body shell that I kind of wish more people would have done. Maybe more rear-wheel drive kind of coupe body shells, and maybe try this one out some more, because I do like to see that. It's neat to see that somebody took something completely different and made it fit into the category. Alrighty, that is Poolshark's entry. That was pretty quick. I think I kept my time down there. Unfortunately, his car got caught by the spam filter. So if you're out there and you're still using Yahoo Mail, please stop. Yeah, Yahoo now throws a bunch of spam on the bottom of every one of your emails. So yeah, go ahead and upgrade to Gmail, please, or some kind of modern email system. Yahoo should just go away. Okay, next up, let's see. We have Bristo. I don't know how to say your name. Bristo? We're going with Bristo. And he has the Let me try this one. Vermontania, Vermont, and then Tina. Reldam. I really think you were just trying to make something that I couldn't say. I get that feeling. You just wanted to hear me fumble over trying to say this. Vermontinia Reldam. We'll go with that. And look at this. This is a little hot hatch with some very aggressive looks. Look at the size of those fenders and tires and exhaust pipes and everything. Everything about this screams aggressive, mean hot hatch. Let's start her up. Looks-wise, maybe a little bit more mid-90s-ish. It kind of reminds me of, what was that Renault? Somebody will tell me. Renault had a really cool little hot hatch in the 90s that looked similar to this. Let's see, let's go to the platform. Aegis steel, front longitudinal, McPherson strut, semi-trailing arm, all-wheel drive, and a polymer body. Engine-wise, he has shoved a V8 into this thing, but it's only a 2.4 liter, so a very tiny little V8. And you know how I like my small V8s, but holy crap on a cracker. Billet steel, I-beam steel, lightweight forged, all the way up on quality on everything. It is cast iron blocked and head. Very high compression, complete raced out cams, VVT on everything. It's multi-point EFI and twin intake. I'm pretty sure this is a race car. Long tube headers. It does have mufflers on it, that's impressive. And it makes 630 something horsepower. Let's hear this thing. No bottom end. And then all of a sudden everything comes into play. Yeah, that sounds cool. 10,000 RPM? Holy crap. It sings. And yeah, 363 horsepower on a flat plane, 2.4 liter V8 NA. Really good numbers there. But it really should, because it is really raced out. Trim-wise, what do we have? 6-speed manual. Semi-slicks on 295s. Yeah, I thought they were pretty wide. 4-piston and 4-piston. But the pads are comfortable. You don't want to go too crazy. Fully clad. A decent amount of downforce. Standard interior, only 2 seats. The back is full of just, who knows, no entertainment. Power steering and ABS. Good safety. You're going to need it as fast as this thing's going to go. Looks like race style suspension. No ride height. And that gave us a tameness of 64.5, a sportiness of 68.7, so you definitely made the sportiest car in the competition. Comfort of 18, prestige of 25.6, safety of 27. Wow. I mean, I knew it was coming, but I didn't know it was going to be that high. $24,000, 468. That, and the 1,500 production units might be a little much. Just a little outside the price range we were looking for. But still a really cool entry. He certainly went out in that left field and caught my attention. Sorry that you didn't make it into the first couple episodes there. This one, I don't know what happened. I guess it just got lost in the emails and I missed over it, so my apologies for that. And then last up we have the Fineliner, which was done by Mick1968. This was just a little bit, actually, I got the submission basically right after I rendered last episode, so I didn't have time to look at it. Looks like we're using the standard body shell we've gotten accustomed to, and the Vextron is on, and it does look pretty good. I like the front particularly. It's real aggressive looking, and it kind of has that whole Supra and Celica thing going on with the mouth that's like, hey guys, I'm a car, hey, I'm really excited. Yeah, that kind of front. I think it was the Celica. Yeah, the Celica and the Supra both had that kind of front, and one of those early car memes. And then on the back, looks like we have a pretty couped style back with a big wing, some 80s style taillights, and overall pretty standard rear end. The whole car is kind of shifted to the back, so it has that big nose heavy appearance, which is kind of cool looking. I do really like those kind of cars with the big, long, important looking nose. Platform wise, we have steel, front longitudinal, the wishbone multi-link, rear-wheel drive, and steel. So kind of cheap on the body, which is good in some ways because you can spend money on other things like a Flyplane V8 with dual intakes and forged H-beams and forged pistons, which isn't too unrealistic. It's still street carish. And 3.6 liters, so everybody's embracing these small V8s with me, and I appreciate that. It is dual overhead cam. It has good technology on the heads, VVT and VVL, and a pretty aggressive VVL. It has multi-point with twins, like I said, performance intake, running on regular, which is nice. Revs to 6,800, which is a pretty good number. Tubular headers, cats, and running pretty quiet as well. And it made 318 horsepower, 252 foot-pounds torque. Price-wise, looks pretty decent, so we could be in the right kind of price range here. And it is a 5-speed manual with very narrow tires. Whoa! Did that not save or send right? I'm not sure. But 185 15s all the way around. So this thing might be a little sketchy. 3-piston brakes, so decent brakes if you can get those tiny little tires to grab. It is semi-clad. The downforce is just for show. Has a little bit of excess cooling there. Always got to remember. I've been known to forget to reduce the cooling airflow. It has 5 seats. Sorry to whoever has to sit in the middle of the back. You're a sucker. Standard interior, standard entertainment, traction control, power steering, ABS, standard safety. And it looks like sporty suspension. So this one had 54.7 tameness, 29.4 sportiness, comfort of 27, prestige 24, safety 27. And those are pretty good numbers. The sportiness is low, and I think maybe that has something to do with those smaller tires, and the economy is low, and that might have something to do with that cooling, the excess cooling on there. But the cost is pretty low. Production units are a little high for the cost. This one I think maybe just needed a little bit of touching up before it was ready. But again, I do appreciate your entry. Okay, now for the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's take a look at the new Vextron. If we take a look at the old one here real quick, and we'll see that it had 36, 57, 18, 25, 22. You can remember all that? Good. And then the new one, 42, 52, 18, 29, 19, will give you a pretty good little synopsis of the improvements that have been made. And if you look at the preview picture down there, you can see the styling has been upgraded. And let's take a full-on look at her now. Alright, I actually spent a good bit of time refining the look of the Vextron 2.0. So we're saying that the first Vectron was designed and built in like 98, 99, and then sold for the 2000 model year in 99. This one happens the year after that debut, and we decide to take the car into full-on production and start spitting them out like crazy. So this is going to be the new, basically midline car, the flagship, if you will. There will be a cheaper option. You can get the original car, or the original engine, the straight six, or you can get this new V8 that we have chosen to use and get a little bit of added performance. Not a whole lot, but a lot more refinement. It definitely improved in some interesting ways. So as far as the chassis goes, the platform and all of that, that is all identical. Nothing has changed there. Obviously the body has changed quite a bit as far as fixtures go, and you can see the changes. I tried to stay within pretty much the same look, just with a little bit more detail and a little bit more modern look. Obviously we lost the pop-up headlights. It is now beyond the point where pop-up headlights are going to be used, and the overall look of it is just a little bit more aggressive and I guess that's the word to use. It's a little bit more aggressive looking. Our fenders have gotten wider to adapt to the newer, wider tire technologies out there. We've got some new front lips and a little bit more wing action going on. Overall, I am pretty pleased with the way the car looks. I know a lot of people try and go a little bit more extravagant with the way their cars look, but I really, when it comes to the actual car looks and design, am always going to be rooted to making things that look very realistic. And I believe I've pretty much nailed it for this car as to something that would really look good and fit in the real world. We all know the engine pretty well. We built that a few episodes ago, and this is the guy that you guys chose. I did some corrections with the exhaust system, and we are at 255 horsepower and 253 foot-pounds of torque. Trim-wise, the transmission has stayed the same. We changed the rear-end ratio, if you will, a little bit to give us a little bit more economy and use some of our top speed available. This is not correct. I haven't adjusted it, so this chart hasn't updated yet. Our new tires are now just a little bit wider at 235 millimeters, but we have some room to spare for upgraded models. Brakes stay virtually the same with just a slight increase in disc size, and the under tray and everything like that stays the same, but we add some front aero inclination. The interior stays the same, except we go from basic 90s to basic 2000s on entertainment and safety. Suspension-wise, I didn't do much tweaking, if any, I don't believe, in this department because it just didn't need it. So this is what we end up with. Apparently, somewhere down the line, I just adjusted something to change the tameness. Whoops. But we have a tameness of 51.9, a sportiness of 42.2. Remember, those are the two that I would like to see pretty close to each other for a good balanced car in this category. Comfort of 17.8, which is still fairly low, but we have a good prestige at 29.3 and a decent safety at 18.5. Okay, so that gives you a basic overview of the upgrades to the Vectron 2.0, and I'm going to continue that naming style from here on out. Alright, the time is now. Let's take a look at the three cars that I have chosen to go up head-to-head with the Vectron 2.0. The first one will be, in no particular order, just the first one that is on my list, the AMW Raven, which was submitted by the Tom. This was one of the first cars we looked at, and is definitely one of my favorites as far as cars that really match the spirit of the Vector Automotive Challenge that it was put out there. It had 270 horsepower, it had a very good tameness and sportiness, which you remember, those are the two that I am most concerned about, but also did better than us on comfort and safety. So it has a little bit of variety versus our car. It is a little bit cheaper and runs on just regular unleaded, so its service costs and its actual running costs are a little bit lower. so that helps it out. The economy, however, is also lower, so that 28.8 miles per gallon gives our car another little bit of a variance versus this one. We will do a full breakdown of these at the end. I'm going to try and make some kind of chart to show all the cars together to make it easier, but I'm just going to give a little bit of a quick overview here to announce the three. The next one was one that really captivated me right the instant I saw it, mostly because of the awesome name, the Buxton Flyer V8. Now this guy looked something like this. I really enjoyed the way this car looks. I like the details in the body, and the fixtures and whatnot. I like everything basically besides the wing. But yeah, I really like the way the car looks. It fits the era very well, even if it is perhaps a little bit ahead of its time. Just a little in styling. It overall had a pretty awesome look to it, and had really good stats with a 54 and a 43 on those two, and once again was more comfortable and had more prestige and was safer than our car. And the price point is pretty similar, if not a little bit more expensive. The service costs are a little bit more, runs on premium, economy is about the same, if not a little bit worse, so definitely a very close competitor, and with that V8 will definitely be walking all over our Vectron as far as market share. And last but definitely least, no, I'm just kidding, is the Cabaret Sport, which was submitted by GT1 Cooper. Now this one is probably the most different of the bunch, not necessarily in styling, and you'll notice the styling has been updated a little bit. I noticed after the fact that he had sent me an updated version of this car, so I decided to go ahead and choose this one. And it does indeed have a little bit more of a modern front end to it. And the back, definitely really like the way the back of this car looks. That's probably my favorite part of it. The front's okay. It kind of reminds me of the FTO, the Mitsubishi FTO, if you know what that is. Has a little bit of that flair to it. And I've even started to like the little chrome insert in the grille. Yep, it happened. And we'll remember that this car had a tameness of 65.7, a sportiness of 41, a comfort of 26, prestige of 24, and safety of 24, and was rather cheap at 63.91, had low production units, had extremely good economy, 41.7, ran on premium, but had very low service costs, So overall, this is probably, like I said, the most varied car in the group, but it's certainly very much so in the same market share and has some attributes to it that would make it a very strong competitor. Alright, there's your overview of the three that I have chosen. Thanks to everybody for your submissions. It was so much fun going through everybody's designs and builds. Everyone really seemed to understand and get behind the point of what I was trying to accomplish and the theme of the build. So it was really cool to see. And congratulations to the three that I picked. Your prize is nothing, really. You just get to be the three that go up against the Vectron. Congratulations. Okay, so I spent a little time making a statistics kind of page here that I could record on to show you all the cars side by side and their values that I think would be what you would look for in basically a brochure, or if you were looking at magazine comparisons, the base information that you would get to try and make your decision on, oh, which car should we go look at today? Or which car am I interested in? So I have all of the detail stat totals, so the tameness, sportiness, comfort, prestige, and safety. And then we have the cost plus the man hours, so you got to keep that in mind too. This is not an MSRP style price. This is just the cost of materials and how many man hours it would cost to, or how many man hours it would take to produce it. So that's going to increase the cost. Got your miles per gallon and what kind of fuel. You got your cost of service per year and your quarter mile and the full automation test track. So top left here is the Cabaret Sport, top right AMW Raven, bottom left Buxton Flyer, bottom right is the Vectron. The statistics labeled in red mean they were the best in that category versus all four. So the Cabaret gets the tameness of a 65.7 as the highest, gets the highest comfort at a 26.8, and also has the lowest base material cost. It is $63.92, but does not have the base lowest man hours to produce, so that's going to drive the price up. Then we have the AMW Raven over here, has the best sportiness and the best safety, which are two things you like to have the two best of if you're going to have two in a pair. It also is the only vehicle that runs on regular unleaded, but has that relatively low 28.8 miles per gallon. The Buxton Flyer has the best prestige at a 33.2, and also has the best quarter mile time at a 12.6, and the best test track time at a 2 minutes 25. These three kind of all play hand in hand. It is also the most expensive, has the most man hours to produce, so you get what you pay for. You're getting a lot of performance for your dollar with this car, but you're not necessarily getting the best economy. You're not necessarily going to get the best sportiness feel or tameness. This is the best all-out performer, I would say. And then for the Vectron, just one red at 134 man hours, paired with that 7137 cost. I would say these three are very close in cost, because the AMW Raven has a little bit higher man hours but lower cost. The Cabaret has pretty significantly higher man hours and the lowest cost. So yes, these three very close in cost. The Buxton Flyer would be another step above that, a little bit more expensive, but not terribly out of range by any means. So don't just take the amount of red you see in any particular car as the winner. Keep in mind that it can be a blend of all of these things that make the car stand out to you, and the overall appearance of the car, and just the overall presentation. So there's a lot to keep in mind, not just which car has the most red in its statistics, or which one's fastest, stuff like that. If you had the money in your pocket and you were going to buy a car like this, which one of these most suits you? Which one of these really catches your eye and says, yeah, that's the car I want to look at first. That's the one I want to see if it lives up to the hype. I, of course, have my opinion, and it will be less, I would say my opinion matters a lot less than you guys' opinion on this, because I built one of these cars. Now, granted, the chances are that the three people who built these cars are going to want to have a say too, but the four of us, the four car builders here, have the minority of the opinion. So if I could get everybody who watches this video to vote, yes, if we're going to do another straw poll to see who has the best car here in this category, we get a nice wide audience, a nice wide opinion kind of pool. We'll have a better idea as to who did the best, which car is the most tempting to go out and buy. So as you probably guessed, there is a straw poll down in the description. As we've done in the past year, these have been very reliable and worked really well for me, so I'm going to keep working with these. There's no money on the line, there's no prizes on the line, this is all about pride. We want to see who pulled off the best car in this category. Alrighty, so this episode's going to end the fan kind of challenge that we set up here in the Vector Automotive Challenge. Next episode, depending on how the timeline goes, will either just be a normal let's build the next car in the Vector Automotive Challenge realm, just kind of the next car in our model lineup, or it may be exploring the Steam release of Automation. We'll see. It's going to be kind of a fine line we're walking. We're getting pretty close to that, but I think I might be able to squeak out one more episode before we get to that point. We will see, and we'll definitely go over the fans' pick of which one of these cars were the best. Thank you, everybody, for your submissions into this contest, or competition, not really a contest. It's been a ton of fun. I really want to do more of this in the future. It's, yeah, it was very encouraging. It really made me feel like the series has a point, and people have really been following along because everyone really picked up on the theme real quick. It's been just really great. So thanks everybody for the support, and I'll see you next time.